Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Donna Kapmeyer, and I'm the CEO and firm owner of ActionCOACH in Coastal Bend and Capital Game Plan Consulting in San Antonio, and I'll be your host for today. I am very excited to have our special guest on our show, CJ Stratte. CJ is the president and CEO of On the Move. Today, we're going to speak with CJ about her journey to get to where she's at today and the challenges and successes of owning and operating a business. If this is your first time on our channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get notifications when we publish new content. Well, CJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, likewise. Well, let's start off by having you take a moment to share a little bit about your business and how your journey began.
Okay, well, we're a family business, and so I was almost born into it. I was about 6 when it actually started, but the industry we've been in was my family, they were pioneers. My grandfather was a pioneer into the storage industry, and he built his first storage facility in the 70s. And so On the Move, we started in 1992, but it was a need that we had at our storage facility. We had different products that we'd offer our customers, and one was a truck rental program. And the top three that you guys see every day, and our biggest competitors, they wouldn't actually designate a truck to On the Move, or I'm sorry, to our storage facility. And my grandfather just wanted to have his name on the truck, like just on the door, like put his logo, like this is a truck dedicated to use stow and lock storage facility. And they wouldn't do it back in the 90s. And so he went and found another way to do it. So he went and bought the truck, and he realized it was pretty difficult to find insurance to be able to rent trucks out to the general public. Is that something your State Farm or other agents, local agents, they don't really like to do? Oh, you want to give this big truck to strangers? And it's not the top rental insurance it's not the top selling point for most agents. You don't really see it advertised very frequently, but it's definitely made us different because we were able to find the right program at the right time back then. And then the most exciting part, like the reason we started, was to actually have custom graphics on our truck. So my grandfather, he had a great marketing brain along with the engineering brain. So he actually designed our truck to be like it was one piece fiberglass shell. So it would really made our branding on the truck really pop. And he used the truck as a marketing tool. Instead of giving away free rent, he said, rent with me, use this truck for free. So all of our new customers coming into the storage facility, they were able to use the truck to move in. And so he saw a need and that it worked really well for our facility. And so we became a business, and we started offering our products to the whole storage facility in the early 90s. And that's what On the Move basically does. We've grown to so many different dynamic products over the years to help with the storage industry. We've grown into different industries completely. Real estate agents started calling us as well, and they wanted the truck and to be able to donate it or not just donate it, but to allow their clients to use it when they were moving. And for staging their house when they were, moving into a new house. It's like, okay, well, let's get some of this stuff out of here. So we've had some great fits for being a really cool marketing tool for our customers. And so I've started working here when pretty much a little bit later, I guess, but I always had to work here for punishment, to do invoicing and that kind of stuff. If I owed money for a speeding ticket or something, I would say. And so I definitely cleaned some storage doors over the years because we had a storage facility, but my first official job was at a storage facility. And so which is really cool because I was able to rent our trucks out. And so I've sat behind the counter where many of my customers sat now, as managers of storage facilities who rent the trucks out. And so I've been able to see okay, well, it's kind of a pain just to have I had a big dry erase board with a calendar. It's like, okay, when are you moving? Okay, trying to schedule it there and trying to find the right tools and getting the correct signatures, and then walking around a truck and trying to determine all the different damages that were occurred in the previous rental. So, being out here in the Texas sun and over 100 degrees, it was never fun to go walk around the truck and try to determine all the damage. So, just pre-planning for some of that. So I was able to use that experience as a marketing director and, coming up with some of the technology that we use now for software and that kind of thing here On the Move. So I know I haven't really taken a breath or I just keep going right into it. So I'll just keep kind of rolling with it. But I started in On the Move after I graduated college. I had done the storage position, but I wanted a little bit more of a salary and more hours. And so usually with storage, you only have we already had a manager full time. And so I kept volunteering to work for On the Move and sending my resume to my parents, and they wanted me to have more experience first before coming on board. So I've done some, outdoor sales where I had to knock door to door, and I worked for some larger corporations and doing sales and some inside sales. And so when I finally felt it was ready, I came and worked for my mom here at On the Move since 2007, which was definitely a very interesting year to be working with the real estate industry. So
Yes.
sort of we had it was definitely some tenacity on we were smaller staff, just about 10 of us, and nationwide company, and trying to come up with ways to keep growing in the real estate market, where they had no idea. They definitely did not want to invest in that kind of marketing at that time. So, but luckily with our storage customers, they were such a resilient, pretty much like a recession, what do they call it? Recession resilient.
Yeah, recession proof.
They're pretty,
Yeah.
they handle all the dips and dives through the economy and everything pretty great, which kept us able to keep growing and be successful. So that's kind of my story on how I got to On the Move. But it was just, definitely working with a family company has been a blessing, and definitely comes with challenges. And so I became CEO about 3 years ago, just with some family discrepancies and some changes needed to be made. So I actually had to replace my mom as CEO here in 2022. And so I was answering directly to my grandpa up until until March. I'm looking at my calendar, so my eyes are going crazy on the camera. But so he just passed away in March. And so I talked to him every day at 89 years old, and he had new ideas for the growth of the company. And I never even understood all of his ideas. And I mean, I think he came up with Craigslist before Craigslist was a thing, and I just couldn't figure out what he was trying to accomplish. And so I still regret that. I'm like, that could have been Maury's List instead of Craigslist, but
Well, it sounds like he was an amazing individual, and having that touch point with him every day, boy, and the opportunity to leave such a legacy, right? And for you to continue that on, that's quite impressive.
right. And it's like, I talked to a lot of my friends and, colleagues, and they weren't as lucky as I am to be able to talk to my grandpa so much. They didn't have a grandpa that was so interesting. Not that's a bad way to say it, but I mean, he was so involved in my life and my business and being able to guide me. And I just always knew I had him, and he had great ideas. If I had a problem, he could help me brainstorm a solution. And I think it kept him motivated to live long, gave him a nice hobby, kept his brain super sharp, that we don't get to see that in a lot of that age group. So I'm
Oh,
very
you're
lucky
right.
about that.
Right. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you. It was
So
great.
let's talk about, we always have challenges and mistakes. So, you're kind of having to accelerate in your career. Let's talk about some of the mistakes that you made along the way as you transitioned to that role and became CEO.
Absolutely. I think the hardest part for me, I don't know, um, I've been giving a lot of books over the years, and one is The Power to Say No, and another one is Boundaries, and then empathetic leadership books. And so I think I have a pretty recognizable pattern of how I lead the team. I definitely am a people pleaser. And so I think I definitely changed the culture On the Move and being more positive and making it more enjoyable, but sometimes to the detriment of me working more hours, working in the business instead of on the business. And so I think with some mistakes, I've been a little bit too transparent with my staff and trying to get them to understand my why. And it's not their why. And so they see it differently. So to always get on the same page with that, I think has been a challenge. I have made some terrible hires where I trusted people with a lot of responsibility, and they turned out to be toxic. I think that's a number one challenge I hear from most business leaders is employees. And
Yeah,
so I
sure.
definitely made mistakes there. But one of my biggest mistakes, was not really, being too ambitious. Like I've always wanted to grow our company. And so we started growing too fast. And so I've actually had to tell customers no, like we couldn't, they wanted to buy 20 trucks from us and I didn't get the funding quick enough, through the bank and plan ahead for the growth. And so, I think I really struggle with forecasting the growth of our company and being able to keep up with it. And so I
Sure.
wish I could go back and just really sit down and use more forecasting as part of my strategy for growth. And instead of just saying yes to everybody, every customer, like, yes, we can lease you 20 trucks. Well, that takes up all my funding. And to learn what the bank standards are, like they weren't always excited about like working with like delivery companies isn't their favorite vehicles to help fund because they're so like, there's just tons of mileage and just you don't know what kind of condition you're gonna get those trucks back. Well, I do now, but those were some things that I had to learn the hard way, and I just wish I would have strategized a lot better.
So let's talk about the challenges today in your business. What do you think are your top one, two, three challenges in your business and your industry?
I think some of the biggest challenges right now are the tech advancements and the customer experience changing and the demands for their customers. For example, for me, one of my biggest challenges is after COVID, storage facilities, they started becoming more remote, where they didn't actually have a manager on site. And so they were
Mhm.
able to use, there's a great companies that offer these awesome kiosks and you can rent online, you can rent right at the kiosk. And so there's not as much of the personal touch. Well, that's great. Like we don't really rely on that as much as previous relationships with our businesses and that kind of networking that we've done. However, it's not the greatest when you're renting a truck out because I want somebody to see the truck before and after to give a little bit more like, okay, you shouldn't drive the truck through a drive-through and to have that ability to be able to check in and out. So with a lot of our customers changing to remote managers or, not having a manager on site as often, it's not made me as comfortable having a truck at that location. And so I'm trying to adapt to that with different software and that kind of stuff, but it's just it's nerve-wracking when you're sending a truck out to people that don't know how to drive it. And I just would like a little bit more of that. I'd like that personal touch between our customers and the drivers and the renters of the truck. There's just a little bit of training that needs to be done before sending it out, some expectations set.
Oh, that makes total sense.
We've had definitely I never thought that I would go by, I don't know about you, but like all the dealerships driving down and seeing all the dealerships empty.
Yeah.
I never thought that was gonna be a problem in my lifetime, and so that was a struggle that we had to overcome as well. And trying to keep inventory that we didn't even know if we were gonna get, making promises and be like, "Oh, maybe next month we'll have a truck." It was
It's crazy. It's really crazy to think about that. It's just so different
I
and
never
not
ever in
expected.
my life would have thought that I'd go by a Ford dealership and there'd be 3 trucks.
It's crazy. So, having said that, with the challenges that you're facing today and all the industry changes, especially as it relates to technology, where do you see this company 5 years from now?
Well, right now I am really like I've been looking, we actually just had a strategy session this week with my team, so it was great to hear the feedback. But some of the things that I really need to work on is just communication with my team. And so, teaching myself the ability to be that, I think could really help us in the next 5 years where it could, I think I've been a challenge to the company, like just like, okay, well, so and so came to me with this and not respecting always the lines of communication that should be there. So I've learned that. I think if I'm able to fix that, and I think technology will really be able to help me with that and be able to train our employees to be able to use the technology that we do have available, like Teams and just be able to like use all the tools that we do have and learn how to use them right and maybe even get consulted on some of it. I think in 5 years that we could probably be sending a lot more trucks out on the road and focusing on more strategy and meeting new customers and new industries. We've actually had like a new industry come to us and say that they see a need for a truck rental program with them. So I'm excited to see where that takes us in the next 5 years. It's been like, so mortgage companies, they have to be more competitive too now and do more
Right.
marketing. And so I've had some mortgage brokers that are like, do a mortgage with me and you can use my truck. And so I've had a couple, I never would
Nice.
have thought of that, just sitting here and brainstorming. That wasn't just not somebody I think about every day that would want a rental truck. So I'm excited about that. And then I think I definitely have some software that I'm working on to help grow our brand recognition and make our customers experience a lot easier and rent more trucks out. So in 5 years, I expect to be at least double the fleet that we have right now.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
So when you think about success, you've had a lot of success in your family, in your life. Who do you think of when you think about success and why?
Oh man, I have had some great mentors and I've seen some great success that I think, I really enjoy seeing my dad and his career. He was also a business. He wasn't involved in on the move. My parents divorced when I was pretty young, so he had a total different journey for careers. But I just love to see that he's been able to find his passion and love. And he loves to travel. And so he found a business for his retirement where he's driving buses and taking people all across the country. And so he gets to do the traveling that he never did. And I just feel like that success, like to be able to find the passion and be able to be happy and like live on your schedule and go wherever you want. I just think that would be like, okay, I made it. I can do what I want, where I want, and still make money doing it. I think that was really cool. I think also seeing the success from having somebody like my grandfather who had such a great career prior to storage, prior to on the move. He retired from Ford, being a new product engineer. And I was able to visit him when he was in the hospital, and he was just like, this is my legacy, and being able to pass on a legacy. I just think that is something that not everybody gets to do. And I think if I would be able to pass on our legacy or have a patent, that would be my definition of success and how. So I guess traveling and creating patents are my key to success. That's when I feel that I'm successful.
Love that. So you think about your industry, what do you think sets you apart from your competitors?
I think that we have the ability to be more adaptable and understand our customers' needs, and we have the ability to support them. During COVID, I can't believe I haven't mentioned COVID in like months of conversation, and I don't feel like I was like, it didn't affect me at all during it. But now I look back and it's like, well, our customers, they were struggling with, they didn't know, especially our real estate, and just not knowing what was going on. And it's like, well, we deferred payments for our customers to make sure that they could, not have to turn in the lease, and they could, not be totally like strapped for cash. And so we were able to like, keep them happy and still be able to make our bills and keep our cash flow good. I think our ability to like work with our customers and help branding and help like train them on how to be successful with their truck. I think that's been like a key to making us different, because we have used our truck. We do know how to use it. We listen to our customers. We provide like a quarterly magazine from tips. And so our storage I feel like our industry really like works well together in collaborating and sharing ideas across the country. Like as the whole industry, like if we have a storage facility, you're my buddy. Like let's grow together. And so this is working really well for me. And so I think that's been a really differentiates us and makes us able to be more competitive with our products, because we're able to grow with them and adapt. Like, oh, you want to put different ad on the back door? Let's work on it. Let's do it.
That's great. That's great. If you could do things, based on your history, if you could do things over again, would you do anything differently, or what would you do differently?
I think the one thing that I really had a hard time with, and I think a lot of people in our generation and even younger, it's just like entitlement. Like I really had a hard time. I was like, well, I should be making the decisions on this. I should be able to hire this person or fire them at will. And I think, I wish I would have matured with that a little bit hard and had a bigger heart and realized like people are human and it's not to always have like a war, like always be in conflict. Like I wish I would have just been a little bit more patient over the years and just, been like, okay, let me see their side, not always having to be right, see their side and listen to more. I'm pretty open-minded, but I think I had a hard time with marketing. I thought I was very, very good at it and nobody else could do it better. And so but I didn't really like to hear any challenges, including like my, if my mom or my grandpa said something like, you guys know nothing about marketing, like, so I wish I was a little bit more open to that kind of feedback and just had just more open to ideas from other people. And, I always said like it was hard to brainstorm alone. And I had to learn that at a later age. And I wish I would have been more willing to do that younger, like just have a team and being like, hey, like, I mean, it didn't have to be at work. It could have been like people at a conference, just be like, hey, how would you have done this for marketing? And just been more vulnerable to that and challenges that I was facing with that over the years.
Well said. Great lesson learned, right? Great lesson learned. Is there anything else you'd like to share with with our audience, and it'll be your audience as well, about you or about your company?
I think one of the most valuable things that I've learned in the last month, this has been a crazy year for me for death. I've had a lot of big names in my family. I've had two grandfathers pass. My stepdad was a mentor, and my ex-husband passed, and things that they didn't do were planned. And so I know it's hard at our younger age, and even up to my grandfather, he was 89, and my grandma had to go, they didn't have a plot or anything planned for him, that she was 86 trying to find a place for him to rest. And I think we don't realize how much of an impact our loss, if we were gone, how that would affect our family, and not knowing what you expected, like what your wishes are, your final wishes. Like, did you want to have a big funeral? Did you want to be buried? Did you want to be in Michigan? Did you want to be sprinkled over the ocean? I think just kind of having those hard thoughts, and especially with our business, like I think it goes over there. Like if I'm not CEO, these are my wishes that I wish I would have been able to do. These are projects, like, and just kind of keep a journal of what my expectations were for the next CEO of On the Move, and be able to really articulate that well to them and help guide them, because I think we can't read each other's mind. Like I don't know if my husband what kind of funeral he'd want, and it's just like we don't ask those kind of questions. And I think the same thing with On the Move. I don't know if On the Move sold what kind of people would I want to run it? What would I need them to be able to do to satisfy our customers and keep them growing? So I think just more planning and succession planning, I think, is very, very key.
It's so common because we just think that we're just going to live on forever and that things are going to go the same way, and don't even want to, broach the subject
I mean,
when
you just don't know.
you never know. Life is a gift and
my
life is
father,
short.
yeah, my stepfather, he had lung cancer, and so he's going through chemo for over a year, and it's just like something my sister and I just didn't want to ask him about or really, really talk to him about. And then my ex-husband, he's 42. It shouldn't have been, my
Golly.
son didn't know to have asked him that kind of stuff. So it's just been, you just don't know. And in 89, I was like, I mean, it's just like one thing that I've just noticed lately. I'm like, just I think if I just sat down, that would really be helpful. Because like, I don't, people are like, you go to a restaurant, people are like, oh, well, what do you want to order? I don't care, order me anything. It's like, they don't care, like with their preference. So I just think like, we just need to be more open about our desires for our business, for our personal, so our dying wishes, I guess.
Because then once you address it, then you can say, I've got it planned out and I can put it behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't put the other family members in jeopardy or questioning, because you want to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Well, how can our viewers and listeners be able to get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Well, I think definitely sorry. The best way for your viewers are definitely to check out our website, onthemovetrucks.com. I can be reached at cj@onthemovetrucks.com is probably the quickest way to get me. Our phone rings here, and I'm not the best about checking voicemail, so I think email is definitely the best way to catch me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, CJ, thank you for sharing your story. This has been
You.
fantastic and inspirational, and I know that our audience will really enjoy listening to this. This is a Business Spotlight series with Donna Kapmeyer from Action Coach of Coastal Bend and CJ Stratte from On the Move. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see our great content. Thank you for being with us today, and bye for now. Thank you, CJ, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.